Are you being paralyzed by pricing for your federal government contracting business? Listen, I know pricing is one of the more difficult things. It can be all difficult when you're getting started out. And especially for those of you who are brand new government contractors that are new to the channel, welcome, new subscribers, everybody here in the community. But pricing is that one thing that is really holding you back from putting some numbers on the board and starting to bid, especially as we enter the fourth quarter here, the busy season. You don't want to miss out, but how do you do your pricing? Well, in today's video, I'm actually going to be sharing with you 3 reasons that I think are actually holding you back, 3 reasons, 3 challenges that are getting in the way of your pricing. And by the end of this video, hopefully we're going to remove some of those, and I'm also going to show you what you can actually do to help overcome each of those challenges. You may or may not like the answers. I'm going to save the best for last, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video so that by the end of this whole thing, you have more clarity moving forward with your pricing strategy for government contracts. Hey guys, what's going on? Derek James, GovKidMethod.com. Reason number 1 that I think you're struggling with pricing right now is that you're not doing your pricing research. Now, not everybody has to go into these steps. I'm going to give you a couple practical steps on how to do this in just a second. Not everybody has to do this. Hey, if you're not having, issues with pricing, you're probably not even clicking on to watch this video. These are things that you can do if you are struggling and you want to help get more accurate information or even to back into a ballpark for your pricing strategy. So if you are having trouble pricing, the first thing that I recommend you do is go to the GSA library. So GSA is a government agency just like all the others, but they play a integral part because there is something called GSA schedules where contractors can bid on, win, and get on a contract vehicle called a GSA schedule. And if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Here's the important thing to know for you and how you can price your business is that all of these contractors that compete, bid, and get on a GSA contract vehicle, their pricing is publicly posted. And that's at a place called, again, the GSA e-library. If you go to the GSE library, you're going to see the different industries that are broken down. And if you click on those industries, it's going to pull up a list of contractors. It's going to be their pricing manual. It's actually posted and uploaded. You can click on that and it's going to open up and it's going to show you a bunch of rates. So the GSA library is specifically good for rates if you're looking for labor hour rates. If you're in some sort of professional services business where you're going to have to be paying employees, which is, a large amount of businesses in government contracting, all of those rates based on industry are publicly posted. It's company specific information, but it is made public once they are on a GSA schedule. So again, you can go to the GSA e-library as a free resource to look at rates depending on what industry you're in to help to get more accurate information and back into pricing for the rates that maybe you're using for your business. Okay, so now another tactic for you to help with your pricing research in this reason number 1 still is you can go over to USA Spending. Now you may have seen me go to USAspending.gov before in the past, go to advanced search, punch in a NAICS code, but then after that, don't go and click into the other tabs. Just wait a second, let all the information load, and then see what it pulls up. What it's going to give you in this table is it's going to actually give you a whole bunch of contracts, all the contracts within a certain date performed, and it's going to tell you, based on the NAICS code you put in, and if this is the NAICS code that you're bidding on, then you should actually care about these contracts because these are your competitors. These are the contracts you potentially want to go after. So again, in the table, it's going to show you the contractor it was awarded to, the dollar value amount, the dates performed, and then you can actually, within that table, click on it, and that will open it up and provide you even more details to dig into to also help you with accuracy and ballparking your pricing. Okay, so my last little tip here for you, just for doing the research for number 1, is actually email contracting. Because contracting, when there's a solicitation, an RFP, or RFQ out posted on SAM.gov, you better believe that contracting has a bit of a ballpark themselves on what they're kind of willing to procure this good or service at, how much they think this service should cost. And they actually have a term for that that's called the Internal Government Estimate or the Internal Government Cost Estimate, IGE or IGCE. Guys, they have it. So it's very unlikely that contracting is going to just give you that number. But instead, there's a few things specifically you could ask for. You could ask for what's called a ROM, a rough order of magnitude, or you could also ask for a range. Is there a range? You could also ask for an NTE, a not to exceed number. And lastly, you could also ask to see if this contract was performed in the past and what was the previous contract award value. So those are 4 different things, and I would be smart about which one you want to ask and the way that you ask it, but put it as a question before the Q&A deadline for the particular solicitation, request for proposal, or quote that you're bidding on, just to see. I don't think contracting is going to give you the government estimate. They rarely ever do. But a ROM, sometimes they publicly post a rough order of magnitude or a range or a not to exceed number. This can at least help add to your pricing strategy and be additional supplemental information to help you to price this bid. It certainly can't hurt. Okay, so now let's move on to reason number 2 that you're struggling to price government contracts. And that reason is you are just not thoroughly reading enough of the solicitation documents. Now, I know this reason may not be super sexy, but I know most of you, there's so many of you new community members here on the channel and in the email list that are getting into government contracting. I know that you are not a pro at reading solicitation documents, and it can definitely behoove you to get better at this. The only way you get better is through practice. But listen, if you're just looking at a pricing CLIN and you're filling out the price, what you think it costs, that is not enough information. You need to thoroughly read the PWS, the statement of work, for the additional, jobs and duties and activities that you must be performing to actually fill on this contract. If you don't know in detail what you're going to be doing, when you're going to be doing it, how many people it's going to take to do it, when it needs to be done by, is there liquidated damages, for example, construction contracts. These are all things that very much directly affect the pricing of your contract. So if you're only looking at the pricing documents, you could be missing out on the whole other half just by skimming through it. Now, you have to read this in detail. For example, say you're staffing on a janitorial contract and they have you coming out once per month. They give you square footage, and so you put a price together and you submit it, say, hey, it should take about this much level of effort. Well, what if your quote is based on 4 people doing the work and your competitors is based on 1 or 2 people performing the work? Do you see how you could just totally price yourself out of the competitive range, maybe without even knowing it? Another good thing here in reading the solicitation documents is site visit information. Always, always, always attend a site visit whenever you can. It's going to give you so much more information. It's going to answer questions that you didn't even know that you had. And it's going to allow you to ask additional questions after the site visit. And those can be posted publicly for everybody. And you're going to get to hear the other questions that the other contractors are asking. It's just so much good pricing information is going to be, derived from that. So again, anything that you can get from the solicitation documents, not just pricing CLINs or an Excel worksheet, but also reading through the entire, whether it's a SF-1449 form or just spending extra time on the statement of work section of a solicitation, you're going to get those small little details that sometimes that can totally change the outcome of your pricing on the contract. Okay, guys, number 3 is a doozy. I'm catching my breath for this. I wanted to do a whole separate rant video on this, but you guys are lucky. It's only going to be a mini rant. But reason number 3 why you're struggling to price government contracts for your GovCon business is because you don't even have a business, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little bit, like a coach should, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, okay? So maybe this is you, maybe this is not you, but I know there's a lot of folks, guys, doing these bid review videos the last week or two. I've gotten so many questions in my inbox about pricing. You wouldn't believe it. Derek, do you have a pricing tool? Do you have a pricing formula? Derek, give me the pricing. Why aren't you giving me the pricing? How do I price it? So this is my response. If you don't know how to price your business, you don't have business with the federal government. Does that make sense? Do you get that? Or do you at least hear what I'm saying? If you don't know how to quote, you don't have any business doing government contracting. If you've watched the movie War Dogs one too many times and you want to go be like one of those guys, let me tell you, that doesn't exist anymore. The movie War Dogs was based on something that happened decades ago. The regulations and everything have been enhanced now to prohibit things like that. So if you're thinking you're just going to prop up a GovCon business and have no idea how to actually operate a business and quote a particular good or service, and you're saying, man, I have pricing issues. Why doesn't Derek help me with pricing? Or help me with pricing, Derek. Give me the pricing. I can't give you the pricing. You should have the pricing. That's why I don't do resources specifically just on pricing, because there's nothing to do. Like, there's literally nothing. 90%, I dare say, of government contract pricing that you're struggling with, it's just regular old boring ass business pricing. Okay? So if you want to go after janitorial contracts, because that's big, we're getting a lot of responses on our janitorial videos. Awesome, love it. You want to go after janitorial, but you couldn't even quote a janitorial job like for a local hospital or a local A&W or a freaking local Legion Hall, something that's like B2B or B2C, not government related at all. If you can't even price or quote that, I can't help you on the government side. Okay, it's 90%. The last 10% is the government side. There's about 10% of some new things you need to learn. But that whole pricing formula, that whole process is based off of knowing your business. It begins with your quote, which means your expenses and your markup. So reason number 3, guys, if you don't know how to do pricing and you don't know how to operate a business, you need to get busy doing that. Quite honestly, I don't want to break your heart, but if this is you, you need to just put down government contracting. Put it down. And if you're really serious about this, you need to go do this in the real world for a year or 2. Go and learn the business. Go and do janitorial. Go and do staffing. Go and do whatever it is. Because if you're having trouble pricing your staffing business, it's not because it's government contracting. Don't you think you need to pay employer contributions on a regular ass contract like freaking FICA, FUTA, SUTA, healthcare, all that type of stuff? That's not government contracting. Derek, I don't know my numbers. That's exactly right. You don't know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, you shouldn't be joining the federal space. It's going to be hard enough. And a lot of folks, same with the past performance. Well, hey, if you're going after contracts that require past performance and you don't have any, it's because you don't have a business. What are you doing? Go take a year or 2 and do a business first. So many of you are running into these challenges with pricing and past performance. I'm just going to lump that in there. And that's because you don't know what you're doing. You don't have a business. Now, do I ever say like, hey, you have to do those things? No, I'm actually the opposite. I say that you can, but you've got to be good. Like, you've got to bring the goods to do that. And if you don't have the goods to go after those smaller contracts and win those and build your past performance over time, then leverage that to go after other ones, and having the resources and the wherewithal to figure out your pricing, maybe using some of the tips from today will help you now. If you're not able to do that, then you have to get to the back of the line. Spend the next 1 or 2 years actually doing a business. Because guys, that's what the government wants. They don't want you just popping up something a month ago and just coming in and saying, okay, sir or ma'am, I'm ready to go. Where's my contract? I can do janitorial or I can do staffing, and you have no idea what the heck you're doing. I've literally gotten emails from people saying, Derek, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know anything about business. I don't know anything about government contracting, but I want a government contract. Can you tell me what I need to do? The stuff I hear is absolutely ludicrous and is really opening my eyes of the people I want to spend my time with, quite frankly, and those that I don't. So if this is sounding like you, and I know a lot of you are watching this, so I know it does sound like you, I'm not trying to break your heart. Again, a good coach doesn't just tell you what you want to hear. If you want to go pop onto another YouTube channel and that just tells you, just go get your 8A or just go be a GovCon consultant, be my freaking guest, okay? Because they're just selling you hopes and dreams, and at the end of the day, you're still not going to know what the hell you're doing. It's just going to delay the process for you. In the meantime, you could have used that time to actually go and build a real freaking business, even 6 to 9 months. Do something, get to 2022. Then come back to the space and be like, all right, you know what? Like, I got an accountant. I've got a payroll company. I know how to price things at least somewhat. Now let's start going after government contracts. At least get that far. So I'm going to end the rant there. But, in conclusion, 3 reasons you're struggling. You're not doing your research. Consider some of those resources: GSA eLibrary, email contracting, and also USA Spending. I think those will be super helpful to you. And also make sure you're practicing reading. Make sure you don't just quickly just go through and skim things. You may find additional pricing details, even attending a site visit. And lastly, guys, if you have no idea what you're doing, now is the time to stop and pause and start and do things the right way, and then come back to government contracting once you're ready. So guys, you got me a little bit passionate like always. If you liked this video, if you got some practical tip, whether it was number 1, 2, or 3, any of those tips that help you, smash that like button, let me know that you liked the video. And if you're watching this and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, because government contracting is all that we do. And we're the fastest growing YouTube channel here on government contracting, and I don't want you to miss any of my future videos that come out. Before you bounce, make sure you watch this video or this video. And guys, I truly do care about you. Again, you get me passionate. You don't believe the number of emails that I get. So sometimes I got to do videos like, reason number 3 here, to just keep it real with you guys, because I truly want to see you succeed. Keep grinding, guys. I'll see you in the next video, and talk soon.